Good afternoon. We have a special guest speaker for you today. Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of My Gym Partners, a podcast. Attendance is mandatory.
Bullshark
porcupine. I don't know what.
Dude,
this podcast is a pain in the...
Hey, guess what?
What
is it?
It's Kirby's birthday! Oh boy!
Oh!
Happy birthday, Kirby!
Happy birthday, Kirby. Well, not anymore when this is airing, but still, happy belated birthday.
At the time that we are recording, it is Kirby's birthday. What gift did y'all get, Kirby?
It was a gifts kind of birthday. I got some pocket lint. I got a coin, some moths.
Well, I, unlike Renee, was prepared because, come on, Renee, come on. That's nothing that's not anything Kirby's gonna like. What I brought Kirby, however, was I went to Walmart and I bought Kirby a nice little cup of night crawlers from the fishing section. Now those are gonna go down real nicely. Kirby, wait, oh fuck, Kirby hates worms! How could I forget? In the fucking mini game, Kirby, when he eats a worm, he gets sick! I'm a fucking idiot!
Hey.
Stupid!
No, Gert.
No,
Precious
not stupid. Precious.
Ow, I hit my head and I made my skin itchy.
Hey everybody,
like
welcome to
Dobby.
My Gym Partners, a podcast. This is a podcast where we've all collectively lost our minds, decided it would be so funny. It would be so fucking funny if we watched every single episode of My Gym Partner's a Monkey. Like every single one of them.
Wouldn't it be so funny? Wouldn't it be so funny if we just went ahead and we watched I didn't think we were gonna do this that long. I thought it'd be 5 episodes and then we'd give up.
No, it's 4 whole seasons.
4
And this
seasons.
episode does not fail to remind us of that, I'll tell you that much.
This episode is one of the critical episodes, I've decided. It's one of the critical episodes that sort of adds to the feeling that this show I mean our podcast is trying to convey, is that this show is, the television show My Gym Partner's a Monkey, right? Man, this is confusing. It's fucking weird. It's fun. It's funny. Haha.
Well, okay, yeah, I will say this first episode that we're gonna be covering, it really shows its place in the chronology of My Gym Partner's a Monkey. Because, I'm sorry to, have to just say it outright. But, man, it really feels like one of those, later season episodes. You know those shows? We've touched on this time and time again. But those shows that, they get on in the years. They're late in seasons. And all that they can do now is just mention the fact that they're a show.
Imagine being, if you're curious at all about what we're talking about and it's not quite clear, did you watch Chowder? Did you watch Flapjack? They all turned into this.
I don't know. Flapjack, at least, I wouldn't say. But I don't know. I didn't watch every episode of it.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of true that Chowder was never good in the first place. So
You can't just say that outright.
Have we talked about that? I feel like we've
sorry.
talked about that before. Have we?
No,
I don't think so. It's
so-
funny because...
So here's what happened. Personally for me, during the time that Chowder came out on Cartoon Network, I was going through my, I'm too cool for cartoons now. I don't want to watch cartoons anymore. It was the Chowder Flapjack era. I did not watch a lot of those two shows in particular. and like it took like 2 or 3 seasons into Adventure Time before I started watching like cartoons on Cartoon Network again. But
you were probably in middle school, right? Around that time,
something like that. I watched a lot of anime at the time instead. I was like, I don't want to watch baby cartoons. I want to watch my anime. Anyway, Gert and Niall were always reminiscing about Chowder and like saying, "Oh, it's actually like really funny. Like you should have given it a chance." But at the time, I remember distinctly like disliking Chowder quite a lot because I would see commercials for it and think, oh man, that looks annoying and that looks kind of dumb and stupid. But I always heard people talking like after the fact, like, oh no, it was actually really funny and pretty smart, and you know there is some artistic value to it for sure. But I was just like, I don't know, kind of looks a little dumb. Anyway, Gert and Niall, who are always talking about how much they like Chowder.
So me and Niall, in our discussion, we're just like, oh, you know what would be good? Let's just watch some like Chowder like moments. Let's just watch some like funny Chowder moments. And like, you know, we both kind of agreed, I think, that the later seasons of Chowder were like not really that great, and it was kind of in that like on its way out sort of era of its like cartoon run lifespan. And we were just like, all right, first couple of seasons, funny moments. We watched maybe like 10 minutes of like what were I guess supposed to be the most hilarious moments in Chowder. Like they were like Chowder funny moments, right? And we just sat there quietly and we didn't laugh at any of it. And like at the end of it, we were just like, was Chowder bad? What we were kind of hurt by it. I mean, definitely the show looks great, but I just don't know.
Like, look, I'll say this in defense of Chowder.
Before we get into this monkey podcast,
before we get into Monkey Show, we gotta get into Chowder. I'll be the first to say that Chowder definitely wasn't as great as people hyped it up to be, like, but I'll say like the first bit of it had a lot of like promise. Like I think like it kind of reflects more the beginning of it, the spirit of Harvey Beaks does, like the entirety of Harvey Beaks. It just has that like sort of innocence to it and like wonder, ooh, look at this like wide world of like food and just like interesting characters and stuff.
They live on a Discworld. They live on Discworld.
Yeah, and like, you know, later on, like, you know, they do touch on that world and stuff, and like, you know, it is funny. It's a funny and good show, but like you said, it's just later on they kind of just like more so about the jokes than like the world building, about that sort of stuff. And even then they're kind of just like, I don't know how to describe it. They're just more so sarcastic, really, than anything.
It's kind of just like the fate of all long running cartoons, that you could make kind of like it's like SpongeBob. It's like what happened to SpongeBob, but maybe to a lesser degree.
I don't know. SpongeBob is kind of a weird thing because it's like it's still ongoing, and it's like evolved in different like odd ways, and like tried to like just recycle itself. It's weird. I wouldn't say it's comparable.
Maybe not. SpongeBob.
How about like Powerpuff Girls and things like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Like the last season of Powerpuff Girls wasn't very good, even though I adore that show.
Like the original Powerpuff Girls.
Yes,
really?
The original Powerpuff Girls.
I like don't remember anything about like the like structure of how the Powerpuff Girls was. Like I don't remember what like the difference between the first season and the later seasons.
I think this episode, Mountain Dewde of My Gym Partners and Monkey, is like should be looked at as like a case study for what happens to a cartoon show that was largely based on just like kind of a gag. Like it feels like the people who made this show were like, wouldn't it be funny if a human went to an animal school? And they didn't really have much else than that. And they just sort of started running with it. They didn't have any like long-term plans for like an overarching story, or, that wasn't a thing for most of these kinds of cartoons back in the day. And they're just like, let's just see how long we can go. And it, was moderately successful. It got like 4 seasons. That's pretty good.
Do you think this is the exact reason that we might have a lot more like cartoons now with kind of an overarching story?
Well,
because
I think
it's
it
maybe
might
easier to write for that.
It might be just a difference in the kind of people making cartoons, because we kind of, starting with the Adventure Time era, saw like a shift in the kinds of people who would be running shows. A lot more like younger people who had like a vision of some sort for their cartoon, like that they've been like planning this. Like you think of Rebecca Sugar, who's been, probably writing stuff for Steven Universe since she was like a teen or something. It was probably like a fan fiction at first, and it's something that she's been like thinking about for like a long time. And there's a lot of other animated shows like that nowadays. I'm sure Adventure Time was like that too.
Right, a lot of cartoons that we see nowadays, I feel like, are coming from a place of like passion and like
well, not to say that these older ones didn't,
but I feel like these older shows,
it comes from a different lens, I think, because you have to keep in mind that Julie McNally and Tim Cahill, the creators of this show, they worked on Looney Tunes for a bit, like some of like later stuff. They did like that Casablanca parody for Looney Tunes.
The thing that they were just like, oh, wouldn't it be so funny if I almost said Mickey Mouse, Jesus, if Bugs Bunny Casablanca, but Monkey Show.
And they did that, and so it's like a different like attitude of like cartooning, like we got like put the characters in any situation and like see how they go, character type shows.
I feel like we're kind of just like I don't know, we're stating our opinions of what this episode means without really giving anybody a look into what it's what's actually there. We've been putting that off for like 12 minutes.
It's probably
now.
because this is a very like.
It's a light episode.
It's a very light episode. We probably won't talk too much about the actual content of it, just because there really isn't much to say about the actual quote plot line. The main premise of this episode is that Mr. Mandrill has noticed that all the students have been like really unmotivated. They're really depressed. Even Jake and Adam are just kind of like
they are
stumbling around. Yeah. Adam's like, "Hey, Jake," and Jake's like, if you say so."
They're all doing their own NPC walk cycles.
Yeah, one of them is like sliding. One wolf or some sort of mammal is like scooting around, like he's just sliding around on the ground like some kind of snake.
Mr. Mandrill goes to Principal Pixie Frog and he's like, "Oh, the students are unmotivated." Principal Pixie Frog then proceeds to complain about video games and kids not having any work ethic.
It's so funny because when we saw the name, or you did, Renee, when you saw the name Mountain Dewde, you thought you were just like, what if that was a reference to Gamer Fuel?
Video games. Mountain Dew.
And sure enough, Principal Pixie Frog almost got us.
And then he said video games, and I went,
He almost steered us in that direction.
It was almost it. That's the thing with like My Gym Partner's a Monkey is the title may be one thing, but the content of the episode could be something completely different and alien.
Unrelated completely.
I can appreciate that about this strange monkey.
I do want to say I I don't really like the Principal Pixie Frog being a boomer and talking about the good old days where you had worth ethic or anything.
He had one video game.
We had one video game, back in my day. It's just funny to me that like this feels like not related at all to anything, and like even like Mr. Mandrill says like, okay, that was a weird tangent.
Can we get back to the thing I was talking? Like, yeah, Mr. Rangel kind of plays the straight man for once in this kind of back and forth. And he's like, I have an idea. I'm gonna find some alumni to talk to, like, to motivate the students. Come here, give a speech. They really only got one guy because the other two successful alumni will not come to the school, will not talk to Mr. Rangel for whatever reason.
They just won't. I guess their experience at Charles Darwin is better left behind in their past, and they would just rather not be associated with that school ever again. Which, fair.
But they call upon Dennis Billy, and also, funny thing, in the alumni book, next to Dennis Billy, there's a photograph that we can't see, but it's labeled Cal Thulu. Lovecraft reference. Hello.
What the fuck?
Hello?
I didn't notice that. There's a
Cal Thulu, anybody? Cthulhu? Cthulhu Fatagan?
Yay! Mother Hydra, Father Dagon. Ooh. Everybody go on Steam and play Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth. It was Bethesda published game in the early 2000s. It sucks.
Don't play it. It has too many game-breaking bugs, like in the direct middle of it. That if you
they fixed those. Come on, Renee. They fixed.
Wait,
those.
Are you telling me a Bethesda game has game-breaking?
Well, they
bugs?
didn't make it. It was
They published it.
They published it. Todd Howard did not get all thetagoned up. He just sort of let other people do it for him.
So they call Dennis Billy, who is a jacked mountain goat. He's sitting up on the stage talking about how cool it is to climb mountains. He does it for like 4 hours, apparently. Everyone else is like not amused, but Jake. Jake.
I feel like My Gym Partner's a Monkey gives us characters that are exactly like this more often than I think I've seen in any other, media.
So you mean like Dennis Billy, this buff dude bro mountain goat?
Yeah, just this buff dude bro who has this very specific way that they like to live, and it's the best, right? It's look at that. Look at that. Remember the gym teacher guy? He was kind of like this. The tiger.
The cheetah?
The cheetah.
You mean King from Tekken?
Yeah, King from Tekken. He was kind of like this.
The cheetah, the tiger student, I see what you mean.
I just think that it's funny that they put so much effort into designing, these one-off characters that we're never gonna see again. I feel like every time I see a character like this in this show, I'm like, wow, that is just such a character they designed only for one episode, and they put a whole backstory to this guy and gave him a name, a full name, his life goals, the way he speaks. It's fucked up.
It's kind of like all the racers in F-Zero.
It kind of is.
Except for Captain Falcon.
It's such a crying shame because I do actually like this design. I like this. He's funny, this big mountain goat guy.
He's ugly, and I hate him.
He's really ugly. I don't know what Renee's talking about.
Well, he's ugly and I don't know.
I will give him. Yeah, I mean he's ugly, but I guess there's some qualities about that ugly. Yeah, endearing.
So,
it's got to be mentioned. Jake is really enamored with being a mountain goat. For whatever reason.
That's the plot.
That's what drives the plot along. And Adam, looking at the camera, goes, "Well, here we go, kids."
I hate it.
He does this 3 other times, I think.
I wish he wouldn't address me directly and also call me a kid.
Yeah, he looks right at the screen, kind of here we go again, kids. It's creepy. It's weird.
It's wacky. Are you ready? Ooh, are you ready for a wacky? Ooh, it's gonna be a wacky.
It's gonna be silly.
Fucking, man, what else? I mean, Adam's just like, oh no, kids.
Jake is kind of like obsessed with the mountain goat. He buys him lunch, kind of just like goo eyes at him while he's eating his like a sandwich or whatever he's eating. I forget. But the thing is, first Adam is like, so you want to climb mountains? Is that your passion now? He's like, no, I don't want to climb mountains. I want to be a mountain goat. That's my goal in life now.
I can't believe this. I absolutely can't believe that Jake is just willing to completely change himself into a goat.
He's really committed to it. When he wants something, Jake's pretty like persistent, I would say. He doesn't, half-ass anything. That's that's an admirable thing about Jake, I think. He never just goes half in on something. He's like, you know what? I want to be a mountain goat, so I'm going to be a mountain goat.
Adam is just kind of like, this will all be solved by tomorrow.
He says, I think also, something bad happens every episode. And he is acting like such a not character. It makes me mad. He's just saying things like that the entire episode. He's just looking at the camera and giving me a wink.
Like, drawing attention to the fourth wall, to the fact that this is a show several times takes you out of the show.
Maybe. It wouldn't even be that bad if it was just like the running gag of this episode, the running joke of this episode. But we've literally been talking about this for like the past month or two, about how every episode we've watched has one of these jokes. It's getting to me. It's
definitely like they know that they don't have another season in store kind of thing. I don't know what it is, but this kind of thing always happens. The show becomes so self-referential and like breaking the fourth wall, and it's just like it's always saved for this last stretch.
Yeah. This episode though, like, you're right to some degree. It is a running gag in this episode. It really is a running gag in this episode, the fourth wall break, to the point where I'm pretty sure it's just padding, because like the major skeleton of this plot line is that Adam tries to like convince Jake he's not a mountain goat, right? Yeah, he has trouble with that. He has to go to like Mr. Mandrill about it. Well, there is some like funny sequence here. I will say this is the best sequence in this show, in the episode. I mean,
I was about to say
the whole show.
Yeah, Jake in his like Dennis Billy outfit, and like walks up to the Dennis Billy, who's like being a creep in the halls. So that like Jake,
why is he still hanging around?
Yeah, he gives 1 4-hour like seminar, and he thinks he can just hang around here still.
Jake, don't you see he's hanging out in his old stomping grounds, his old place. He gets to be a new person here. He gets to live his Charles Darwin experience for just a little longer as the person he wants to be, which is a rad goat and not like some nerd or some shit.
I guess that's true, but Jake walks up to him.
Doesn't make it okay.
Dennis Billy's just kind of like, oh, hey Broham, what's up? And Jake just charges into him, like knocks him clear across the hallway, walks up to him quietly as he's on the ground and just rips off his horns, puts them on himself.
It's so violent.
Goat bleat.
I will say, this episode did have a few funny moments like that, and the next one, it actually happens a bit afterwards, where Mr. Mandrill and Adam are like, okay, we gotta do something about Jake, and Mr. Mandrill pulls out a shovel and he's like, okay, I'm gonna like hit him with this pillow, and Adam's like, oh, isn't that a shovel? And then of course Adam ends up getting hit with the shovel, and Jake walks away, and Mr. Mandrill's like, oh no, This, you know what this calls for? A shovel, and he pulls out a pillow and like flings it at Jake in like 2 seconds. It goes by so fast. It's really funny.
I feel like this is like in reference to that one weird line where like Windsor referred to that little mallet that Jake had in the Hawaii episode as a pillow.
Yeah, just a continuation of that weird joke.
That's a strange joke.
But like they get the inspiration, Adam and Mr. Mandrill. They get the inspiration from a cop show that Mr. Mandrill watched, where they were like taking down a clown gang who brainwashed this woman's child. He gets really into describing it, but they decide they're gonna like put Jake in a warehouse and de-brainwash him.
God, I forgot about this part. Yeah, they put like a jar of ticks, like they dump a jar of ticks out onto Adam's head.
Remember how like Adam in this moment does not seem that disgusted or alarmed?
No, he is totally like in this. He's complicit in this.
Come on, Jake, eat the ticks out of my head like you always do.
He doesn't say that.
Come on, Jake, you know you want to.
It doesn't work though. So they decide through some just so clever, so funny dialogue that they're going to do a montage. They talk about it very candidly. They're
they
like,
call
oh,
it a montage.
Yeah, they literally call it a montage, but they're like, oh, we should do, a sequence of events with music. And they're like, montage. Here we go again. And Eye of the Tiger starts playing. It's a whole thing. They try and get him to eat bananas. They like throw him off a tree so that he just instinctually like uses his tail to save himself.
Was that the real Eye of the Tiger?
No,
it was definitely not. Some like knockoff.
I see.
The tiger.
Eye of the spider.
Monkey.
Monkey.
Then the ending of this is just so drawn out for no reason. You could really tell they just had nothing to do in this episode because they're just like, oh, now he's a monkey again. And they all start like laughing about it. And it really felt like the ending of that one Dragon Ball movie, you know what I'm talking about?
Which World's Strongest?
See, where they're all at the end standing around laughing for like 2 minutes. Yeah, that one. I'll play a clip here. It's so funny. It's my favorite. It just felt, and then it just very slowly like irises out on Jake, just like sitting there, and it's just nothing. And then he like bows, and that's the end. It goes on for forever. That's the end.
There's gotta be like someday somebody's going to compilate all of the times that we've said, and then they just they couldn't have thought about anything else, like in reference to just like the show being out of ideas. But I swear we're not. I think we have validity when we say that.
This show has potential, and it does good. I'd say the next episode is an example of this. The last episode that we did was an example of this. This episode, I'd say this. The way we had to describe it, it just is like a really good example of let's pad out the time. This episode is just an odd one out. What do we have to say? I felt like it was gonna lead to something else with like the beginning, like all the students are bored out of their minds, and like Mr. Mandrill is excited to help out, and like I guess he maintained as like a part of the plot, sort of, but it just felt so threadbare with like Jake thinks he's gonna be a mountain goat. He kins mountain goats.
Whoop-de-fucking do. Jake is...
And we gotta...
Jake is mountain goat kin. What whoop-de-fucking do episode.
But it really just felt like they dragged it out like far more than any other episode. This needs to be stressed. This is the one. This is the episode where it's just one thing, one joke. This is an episode joke. This is a cartoon. We're in a cartoon. This is a cartoon. Hey,
Isn't
you know
it
those
funny,
tropes
Renee?
that cartoons do? Here we are. We're gonna do it. We have to get through this plot somehow. Let's get through the plot. Yes, verily. Let's do that. How many seconds do we have until, like, we still got a few seconds to spare. Those pesky run times. Let's have Jake stare into the camera for all of 10 seconds, and then Iris out for 5 more seconds, and then have him bleat like a goat.
Well, that's
Here we
pretty
go.
funny. I'm glad they at least, like, you know.
I will say, we're kind of, like, bashing on it a bit. Like we said, there are those funny moments, and I just think this is not a regular episode of this show. Don't go into this thinking it's, like, you know, just your other, like, everyday episode. This is their off day.
This
is their real off day.
This ain't your grandma's My Gym Partner's a Monkey, that's for sure.
On to the next episode.
I don't have anything funny to talk about.
You can insult me if you want.
Okay. Hey, Lucy.
Yeah, what's up?
You are... piss head? You are... stinky?
What? Me?
You are... smelly? You are... funny.
Well, yeah, Gert, you're a whore. What about that, huh? You okay, Renee?
Just got some Gatorade in my throat from you calling Gert a whore.
You calling Gert a whore?
I'm sorry, Renee.
Why are you not sorry to me?
Why would I be sorry
You
to you?
You called me a whore.
What are you gonna do about it, whore?
No!
I'm gonna record my own audio and I'm gonna cancel you. You're gonna be sorry that you called me a slut.
I didn't call you a slut. There's a difference. Where in the world are Adam's parents?
Finally, here we are. This is the
Adam's-
one. This is the crux of this season, I'd say. I mean, you know, we were talking about, like, last episode, like the last episode that we did. That one episode was a crux. I'd say this one, you know, it's a pretty good one for this season. Pretty good, like, it answers some questions, like the question of the title, where in the world are Adam's parents?
Before we begin, let's just collectively together try and remember every instance of seeing even glimpses of Adam's parents. I will start. I remember Adam's dad at the like Chuck E. Cheese, whatever it was. He was in the ball pit. We saw his, like, arms or legs or something. He was there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
There was an
we
episode,
did see him.
episode where Adam was sick and his mom was, like, taking care of him, or, like, you know, she's like, okay, Adam, you know, here's your soupy, and then she, like, left for work or something.
Yeah.
Then mention of them during the sleepover episode, something about them working late or something.
Mm-hmm. But no actual appearance from them
No
that
actual
episode.
appearance. I think that's
Do we
all I
know-
can remember.
Do we know what Adam's parents do? Is
No,
Adam's
we don't.
Is Adam's mother similar to how Johnny Test's mother was, where she
Or
was?
she's just like a business person at Nameless Business.
Yeah, a businesswoman at Nameless Business. Is Adam's father kind of like Johnny's dad from Johnny Test?
Well, he
Bit-
doesn't stay at home, is the thing. Adam's home alone a lot of the time.
That's true.
Very much so.
You know, his life looked kind of comfortable.
Yeah, but maybe a little lonely, as we'll see in this episode. So we have precedents for at least saying that Adam Plyan definitely has parents. We can jot that down.
Yeah, he does have parents, but what did they teach him?
What do you mean? Why are we asking that?
What did his parents just add to him, to his personality?
I mean, is that really the question we're asking this episode?
Is that really the big picture here?
I don't know. I mean, I felt like it could be at least a little relevant, a little interesting. It would kind of build upon the persona of Adam Lyon and the people in his life who have influence over him the most. I would assume his parents would be...
Doesn't he have an older brother?
No,
he doesn't.
That was fake.
That was a fake out.
Oh, that's right.
Episode.
Yeah, that was just Long John.
Jake has an older brother though. Jake has an older brother. Don't forget, Jake has an older brother.
We can't forget.
Don't forget that he's just long. He's just Long Jake. He's just Jake stretched out.
So let's start.
We are here at the Ultimate Fetch Intramural Championship. Principal Pixie Frog is giving color commentary. They're tied. The Mad Cows versus a different all-animal team. That's what they're called on the scoreboard. Just a different all-animal team. They're tied 50-50 with 5 seconds left on the clock.
Woo!
The audience is going bananas because they're all monkeys eating bananas. Well, one person is just a person in a gorilla suit.
Jake's father is there, and Jake's mother is there.
They're there, these bananas are awesome. By the way, side tangent. Boomerang's app, the captions not the best. They write bananas as banaz.
These bananas are the best.
B-A-N-A-S.
Oh, can we start calling them that? That seems hipper.
Banaz.
Just banana. Lucy.
Yes?
You mind getting me a banana?
Banana? Yeah, sure. Here you go.
A banaz.
That's me handing it.
Okay, time to eat it.
All right.
Was that a good banana?
Don't put that in the podcast. People don't need to hear my disgusting belch.
No, it's really funny.
They're gonna hear it.
They are going to hear it.
Oh, well, it was just a sound.
Just like cartoon chomp. Chomp.
But who else would be quarterbacking here at this Ultimate Fetch game? None other than Jake Spider Monkey, and Adam Lyon is one of the players. So this is a fun thing. They're here. They're part of the fetch team. They were originally part of the football team.
Yeah, what happened to football? Why did they?
Yeah, what happened to that? It seems like an inconsistency. My gym partner, some monkey crew.
They can have two sports that are very similar.
Adam perfectly catches a stick in his mouth and scores, I guess, some sort of touchdown. Does a little dance. He's like, woohoo, mad cows. And Principal Pixie Frog says, for the second time in 4 seasons, mad cows win.
Afterwards, everybody's celebrating, right? And
all the students with their parents is Jake's dad is complimenting Jake on that pass, but more so Adam on that catch. Man, what a catch! That Adam kid, his parents must be so proud.
And there's just no parents. Adam's just he sighs and he takes a picture of himself.
Gives a forced smile and thumbs up.
Then the next scene we have Jake and Adam performing a beautiful opera on stage at the school. Jake's parents are just in awe of the performance.
Yeah, you were pretty good, Jake, but that Adam kid, he's got some cords on him, doesn't he?
I wish my son was more like Adam.
I wish my son... I really wish my son was more like Adam Lyon. That kid's got some spunk in him. He knows how to... He knows how to do it.
It has to be mentioned that, clear reference to Looney Tunes here. What's Opera Doc, with Adam as Elmer Fudd, Jake as Bugs Bunny. We can see what's being said here.
Oh, that's
honestly
funny.
Fun little reference since, like, as I mentioned before, the two main showrunners, Tim and Julie Cahill, they worked on Looney Tunes. So that, fun little reference.
That is fun.
I caught that. But, yet again, Adam's parents, nowhere to be seen. Sighs, takes a picture with a forced grin and thumbs up. Until finally, we have a Parents' Night Student of the Year Award presentation, where Principal Pixie Frog is proud to present the award to darling boy Adam Lyon, with very unappealing stock photo for him.
Darling boy.
Jake's dad is giving no pretense to the fact that he loves Adam as a son more than Jake.
Wow, I sure do love that Adam more than I love Jake.
Oh, I wish my son was more like Adam. Oh boy, this kid, he stinks. He doesn't say that. But yet again, Adam's parents are nowhere to be seen. Jake comes up to him and is like, "Oh, hey, why aren't your parents here for this thing?" Adam just kind of dodges the question, kind of runs out. The pack, they're immediately suspicious. Well, Jake, Windsor, and Slips has a hand. That's been like a weird little gag. We didn't mention it the last episode, but like, or one of the episodes, like there's a little like sight gag where Slips like pulls up a hand and then kind of like shrugs with it, and then like it's not mentioned again.
I think this is a good form of comedy to show like something that's not previously or normally there in like short instances to kind of convey like a sort of feeling, an emotion that the character is feeling.
An incongruity.
Yes.
There. Yeah. It's funny. Just wanted to make reference to that. But they're slowly realizing that Adam's parents haven't showed up, like, at all, to any event. And they're starting to question the whole plot of this show. Like, why would Adam's parents let him go to an all-animal school for this long?
What kind of neglectful parents wouldn't like immediately storm to the office and be like, "Listen, he's not a lion. Can he go to regular school, please?"
We're his parents. We have so much proof that he's not a lion. Y'all basically know that he's not a lion already. Why are we still on about this?
They realize there's only one reason why that Adam's parents wouldn't be there, and they all kind of gasp, and it cuts to the lunchroom, and the pack's all whispering to each other as Adam walks up to the table with a lunch bag that's kind of a little bloody, I would say.
It's covered in blood.
Very
He's just
bloody.
like, I love my mom's leftovers. Then he eats this like sandwich and makes like a big mess. And everyone at the lunch table is just like, oh no, he's eating her.
I don't know what these animals are so shocked by. Infanticide. Well, maybe it's because it's like patricide that they're like going whoa about, because Animal Facts Corner with Renee over here.
Been a while since we've had one of those.
Oh, wow.
Animal Fact with Renee.
Don't disappoint me.
So, among animals, especially mammals, funny enough, infanticide is quite a common practice, where like the parents or like one of the parents will kill their own offspring in order to just, generate more offspring. So
it's essentially like regaining the calories that you invested in creating life. You just eat them and you get the calories back.
yeah, pretty much. So I wonder how that translates into the world of sapient animals here. They don't seem to like process that. I mean, there's something in a bit we'll get to in Principal Pixie Frog's office as he gets called in because of all of these rumors.
That's right. Principal Pixie Frog wants to find out what's going on here. He's like, so, did you eat your parents, essentially? Kind of roundabout, like, it's like, oh, I want to see your parents. I want them to be at my office. And Adam keeps coming up with excuses, and Principal Pixie Frog is just getting more and more suspicious. He's like, this isn't looking very good for you. How did you do it? How did you eat them? And Adam kind of, like, exasperated is just like, oh, yeah, I totally ate my parents. And Principal Pixie Frog's like, oh, well, you see, my mom has, like, a poison thing on her, so it's really hard for me to, find my approach. How did you do it?
It's hard. It's really hard to, like, sneak up on her.
And eat her.
Frogs do eat each other. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine Principal Pixie Frog just, like, looking at his mother and, like, we don't know what she looks like, but we can just imagine. And, like, she's just, like, in the kitchen, and she's, like, saying something, like, belittling him, as usual. And he just opens up his mouth and just, like, swallows her in one bite. And, like, she's gone forever out of his life.
But, nope. That pesky poison barb. Ooh. Oh, can't eat my mother with that pesky poison barb. But no, Adam, no. He was joking. Obviously, he was joking, Principal Pixie Frog. No, I would not eat my parents.
I did not eat my parents. It's like, oh, all right. Well, then I guess you won't have any problem having them come here.
Yeah. So there is a bit of cannibalism as established here in animal society.
Cannibalism
Maybe
is
they can get away
established.
with it. So, like, because Adam presumably didn't eat his parents, he can bring them tomorrow for a conference at 3 a.m. Because that's, like, Adam gives an excuse like, oh, my parents work 4 a.m. Oh, they can come 3 a.m. That's when I get here. It'll be perfect. See them next week. And so, or tomorrow. Now great. Adam's got to get his parents over here. What? Why could he be so hesitant to bring his parents, though?
Why won't anybody tell us?
It just doesn't make any sense.
Oh, a thing I gotta mention. Principal Pixie Frog is like, don't try anything funny, like pulling any strings on them or anything. I've seen Weekend at Bernie's.
I'm really
just
glad
straight up
that he's seen Weekend
title
at
dropping.
Bernie's.
I've never seen Weekend at Bernie's. What's it about?
Well, you see, Gert, so these two guys, they hang out at Bernie's, but, like, this Bernie fellow, he dies.
Bernie
and
Sanders?
So,
No,
don't.
No, Gert. No.
No, but
Okay.
Bernie
Okay,
dies,
so
and
what
they
happens?
have to pretend he is still alive. So they put the sunglasses hat, kind of tote him around, string him up. That's where that whole thing is. When people say you do that, they say, don't pull a Weekend at Bernie's on me. Don't try and pass off this, like, dead, unconscious person as walking around and talking and stuff.
Okay, I understand.
So Principal Pixie Frog was like, don't do that to your parents. Don't fucking put sunglasses on your parents and walk them into my office. Weekend at Bernie style. There's this kind of, like, shift in tone. Not tone, I guess visual style of suddenly everything's in, like, black and white, and Adam is, like, at his house. It's kind of like a noir detective movie kind of vibe. Jake, Windsor, and Slips are in little detective outfits, like coats and fedoras, like hiding in a bush, just like watching Adam, who has a little donkey tail on him because Principal Pixie Frog asked Miss Warthog to put a tail on him, as in to, have, somebody following him around, but she just put an actual tail on him, and he's just like, well, it is adorable. It's not what I meant, but it's
wow,
cute.
That is really that was a good move, Mrs. Warthog.
I just think that's kind of a cute little moment there. But I really like this weird scene where they're spying on Adam, and he goes into his garage where his like laundry machines are, and he's like washing his clothes, and Slips peers in through like a little peek hole, and he's like, dude, he's so totally naked. And Jake like desperately is like, let me see. He's like clawing at Slips to like get
let me see. I want to see him.
It's I don't know why.
No, like beating around the bush there, I guess, with that joke.
Yeah,
all right.
He's dang.
Well, are they Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny kind of situation?
Yeah, it must be an Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny kind of situation.
You know what I mean? It's weird. Because, man, this era of shows where, like, we want to, like, say these characters are gay. As a joke, of course.
Yeah, never anything in earnest. Don't ever try and, like, assume that that's what we're trying to do.
Not in earnest or anything, but, man, can they joke about it, like, offhandedly, in a way such as this?
It's really interesting to me how, like, okay it is to joke about, like, being gay in these shows, but just like at the time how like, oh, God forbid they actually like have anything like that. God forbid.
They think that he's washing his clothes to get rid of like evidence that he's killing people, has like blood or whatever. They watch him make a sandwich, the most disgusting sandwich in the world. It's just ketchup bread, and like the whole bottle of ketchup, like it gets everywhere. And they've made a stylistic choice here to have everything's in black and white except for the ketchup, which is the like most bright red. Is very interesting, very artsy.
I like it,
Yeah,
like,
it looks different.
Good
It's
on
like
them
refreshing.
for changing it up.
They're trying something.
Jake finds the bottle of catsup on the floor. And it's like, oh, what is that? It's blood. It's blood. And he's like licking it and like eating it, and it's like, it's blood. It's definitely blood. And he's like rubbing his face with it, like, this is a really like,
it's like a visceral little
weird. Visceral is what I'd use to describe this scene, and then he's like, what's wrong with me, Dad? Why won't you love me?
Why won't you love me, Daddy? Why won't you love
I guess
me?
he those comments his dad made really did get to him.
Finally, they're starting to just have an effect on his little brain.
Oh, I think they've been affecting him for a while, man. There's a reason why he wants to be the center of attention. Little did you all suspect that Jake was actually having a character arc all throughout this. Very subtle nuances, very subtle peaks to his home life, to what he's like, how he's treated, and like how it's affected him, and how he is now. It's a very interwoven tapestry that we're like getting just like thrown at us right now. That tapestry's on me. Get it off.
Oh, jeez, you're getting all tangled in it, Renee. Hold still. I'll get it off you. Get out of there.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Renee.
No, it's off.
Adam walks into the living room where there's like an ottoman with like the legs of it are like actual legs, not actual. They're wooden legs. They look like human legs though. It's just a little funny comical ottoman, and he kind of trips over it while he's taking a sandwich, and the sandwich just gets everywhere. Like there's red everywhere, and the pack walks into the room and kind of sees the legs and the blood, and they're like, Adam, and he turns and he hisses at them for some reason.
It absolutely fucking disgusts me. Like, I still can't, like, get over how disgusting this idea of, like, a sandwich made with just ketchup and bread it would be. Like, it absolutely just, like, fills me with revulsion.
The thing is, I can 100% see a kid like Adam, like, making this sandwich and eating it, and it's like, it's a good snack while my parents are away. Ketchup sandwich.
I used to, as a kid, when I had no... I've talked about peanut butter crackers on this show before. Let me tell you, I've talked about peanut butter crackers. But when I was younger, and sometimes I still do it now, I would make a mega cracker. A mega peanut butter cracker. Where I would get like 10 crackers, right? And I would stick them all together with peanut butter. And it was just like this brick that I would just eat with like a glass of milk, and I was like, this is lunch.
God.
And it was so good. I recommend it. Anybody out there, get Zestas. Those are the only crackers you could use, and get you some Jif. And you make you some damn peanut butter cracker.
Make a whole peanut butter cracker brick and like squeeze it down and eat it in one bite like Scooby-Doo. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't eat it in one bite, but maybe make it at least 4 bites. I don't
know if you can do it in 4 bites, but all right. That's Gert's peanut butter cracker segment.
I guess.
Cooking with Gert. It's always about peanut butter crackers.
Yeah, we only talk about peanut butter crackers here.
So they're interrogating Adam. Adam's shadow is like a little like monster thing, so that's funny. But they're like, asking him about the legs, about like the clothes. Adam's like just like, hold on, like like it's just funny like ottoman legs. Now hold on, I need to like de-lint you, and he pulls out like a lint roller, and they're all panicking like, oh, he's gonna club us to death. They're running out, and oh no, who's coming here but Adam's parents. The car
here.
Like drives in, like the light blinds the pack, and they're like, oh, he's trying to blind us so he can get us, man.
He's like trying to... Our senses! I can't see!
He's like, no, those are my parents. They're fine. And the next day, Adam is there in the school. What do you call that? The fucking...
The quad.
The quad.
Yeah,
Adam's standing there in the quad with his parents, but his parents are in like full hazmat suit gear. And he's like, you see, my parents are deathly allergic to animals. That's why I could never introduce y'all and couldn't have them come here.
Oh, I get it.
But he's been taking pictures and like showing them to his parents, so like they know all about you guys. And he's got like pictures of like him and Jake, some funny pictures. There's one where like Jake is stealing a toilet roll from Adam while he's still on the can. And then there's one with like him with his friends, the pack, best friends.
Yeah, he's got a little like scrapbook that he's showing them, and they're like, oh, I guess it all makes sense. And then Principal Pixie Frog's like, well, I must have to ask though, Mr. and Mrs. Lion, why did you let Adam come to this school in the first place? And wouldn't you know it?
You can't understand them. They're in a hazmat suit.
It's funny. We'll never know. But You know, I think this explains a lot more than like a lot more than like it would seem. So they're definitely allergic to animals. They cannot like they have to wear whole hazmat suits. Adam has to bleach and like ruin his clothes every night with like heat in order to get the fur and like DNA of animals off of his like clothes.
I bet that's the reason all of his clothes look so plain Jane and the same, is because he just washes them together at like extremely high settings, and it just like makes them all orange and like shitty.
That could be it.
Maybe all his clothes suck because, you know, it's out of necessity.
So my headcanon is for Adam Lyon's parents, because they're so deathly allergic, they just don't even want to bother with it. Like, with, like, going through the paperwork with anything for this. Like, this is, like, a limit to them, even, like, going in with these hazmat suits.
You think they just figure it's just middle school, it'll pass quickly?
They're trying to justify it to themselves somehow. It's like, you know, I mean, our boy Adam, he's making friends. He's having a fun time at least. Like, you know, it'll pass. It's only middle school. I mean, surely, like, we can't just risk it all going to that school with our allergies, right?
Right.
But it's like they had those hazmat suits on standby, it feels like. They could have come to a school play or two, right?
Also something interesting that I started thinking about, when the pack was sneaking into Adam's house, a way that they get in is through a doggy door.
Doesn't Adam have a dog?
Does he?
I've never seen it. I don't remember.
I don't know. I feel like maybe... I don't know. It feels familiar.
But like, why would they? Why would they?
This is a job for the My Gym Partners a Monkey wiki.
Yeah. Does this contradict any evidence that we've been shown in previous seasons or episodes?
Are these not? I mean, like, his dad was at that fun pit place. Like,
yeah, but that wasn't an animal place. That was a place for humans.
That was a place for humans, but I mean, the animals were there. But I guess they were in the... He didn't know that, and also they were in the closet most of the time.
That's true, they were.
No, there is no evidence of, like... I'm looking on the wiki under canines. There is nothing here. I don't think Adam has a pet dog. That would bear mentioning, I would think.
Maybe Adam installed it and like his parents don't know, and like Adam just like sometimes like crawl in through there like a little dog because like he's become so accustomed to like the way that like it feels to be at an animal school that he needs a little bit of that at home. So like sometimes he just crawls in through and is like arf! Arf! And then he goes back to normal.
That's incredibly sad.
That's exactly what happens. Well, I think overall, though, it's a pretty fun episode, honestly. It's funny. It's silly. It's got some really cool visuals, I think. I think there's a lot of really fun expressions in this one. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love this episode.
Definitely, like, you know, they experimented with this one. And, like, it looked like they had fun with it, you know, like... You know, there was a bit of that, like, whoa, like, you know, well, how come, like, continuity thing or something, you know? But, hey, you know, it interweaves with the plot of the episode, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
And, like, it doesn't overstay its welcome, wouldn't you think? And it doesn't remind you that it's a show, that it's a cartoon show that you're watching that's like wasting minutes of your life just going on about, yep, this is a cartoon. Yep, we're in a cartoon. Oh, let's spend a couple more minutes just talking about how we're going to do a montage. Let's look at the camera for 10 seconds. Did you know it's a cartoon?
Did you know you're watching one?
I really like this episode. It reminded me of how I like to make burgers.
Bob, get out of here.
What are you doing here, Bob? Of Bob's Burgers
I just
fame?
heard that you were talking about my gym partner's a monkey, and Tina, she likes to watch that show, and sometimes I stick around. I like to watch cartoons too. It was a pretty good episode.
Thank you, Bob. Can you send Gert?
Get out of here, Bob.
Can you send
don't
Gert
know
back
anything
in?
about
Can
cartoons.
you send Gert back in, please?
Yeah.
Goodbye, Bob.
Hey everybody, I'm back. I got a little. Bob was making burgers, and I wanted to go eat one, so I just put Bob on.
Stop justifying this.
Gert, why don't you talk about these images of Mr. Mandrill?
He sits. There are 4 pictures of Mr. Mandrill in various locations. One of them is in the perfume department from SpongeBob, and he's it's the same picture of Mandrill all throughout. He has his hands sort of, I don't know, they're positioned in a way that makes me assume that he's excited. Perfume department.
Pumped.
He's sitting in here in one. He's sitting in the scary wet room. That I don't know. I feel like it's been going around the internet, but we'll post a picture of it. just so. Mr. Mandrill sitting next to Danny DeVito. Is that Danny DeVito and a little dog?
Yep, that's Danny DeVito and a little dog.
Good for him. And the last one is a woman with a dress that seems to just be a chair. There's a chair under there. It's like a cover for furniture. He's sitting on top of it. Very funny.
Yeah, these were sent in by Gatsplat, good old Gat. He's sending us some fan art for a bit. And there's a bit of difference, just some meme images, maybe this could catch on, who knows. Send us your Mr. Mandrill sits images.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to retweet this set right now.
Whoa!
Won't that
Wow.
Won't that be fun? You'll know exactly when we record this part of the episode.
That's kind of scary. Alright, well, thank you so much. Renee, will you read our first comment?
Yes, of course. We got another comment from Captain Scurvy's Blender. Last time they sent us that lovely mashup song. My friends, have you ever played Donkey Kong Land on your Super Game Boy and thought, gee, this border is cool and all, but it could really use Jake Spider-Monkey's hairy ass? Well, think no longer. With this new border I have created, we can now experience DKL the way it was meant to be played. And they linked a YouTube video with a custom border for Donkey Kong Land, where it has a My Gym Partner's a Monkey themed border, and it's pretty good, honestly. I'd like that.
I'd like to play Donkey
Kong Land
with a My Gym Partner's a Monkey border. I think that's a fun idea. Thank you so much.
Feels very Cartoon Network approved.
Here's the stamp. This comment is from Bidoof64. They say, this podcast are my Sunday morning cartoons. And I love y'all. Aw.
Saturday.
Oh.
Thank you. That's really sweet to hear.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think of this as a recurring thing to watch, much like Saturday morning cartoons. That's a pretty big deal, honestly. So thanks. Jeez. I hope we keep it up with the Saturday morning, Wednesday afternoon fun. Wednesday afternoon podcast, the new Saturday morning cartoons.
There's nothing more Saturday than a Wednesday, because right now time doesn't mean anything.
Hell yeah. Now,
right.
next week, 2 weeks from now, we will not be having a new episode the way you think. No, we're doing another live stream.
Why won't we?
We're doing another live stream.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're doing another live stream. We'll definitely be posting more about it as we get a little bit closer with links to our Twitch and all of that. But I think it's going to be real fun. Hope y'all enjoy it.
I'm pretty excited. We're gonna be playing some very familiar games to this show. You'll be seeing finally, and like all for your viewing pleasure. So like, stay tuned. We've posted our Twitch link before. We'll post it again. We'll let you all know. Keep you posted on the Twitter. But this has been My Gym Partners, a podcast.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Renee.
I am Kurt.
What? Why are you sad?
And this has been... Yeah, what's up?
What you said?
Oh, that's just my voice.
Oh, alright, like nothing wrong or anything? Like, it's just...
Are you sad that the episode's ending?
That's just your regular voice?
That's just your normal...
That's just like
normal
how
voice?
you sound?
Normal voice, Kurt?
You know, it doesn't really sound like you were
maybe not like your normal
like that.
voice. Maybe, Kurt. Maybe not your normal voice.
Why are you yelling at me?
All right. See y'all later. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.